All right, come join Kyle, John, and David as they go through what's on their playlist. Find out what's everyone's favourite at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. We have a few segments, to be honest. In and out points, no celebs and the gossip. Back in time where we talk about the big M's, coming attractions, what the cue. Quick checks, who'll be laughing? You abundantly. Welcome to Dual Redundancy.
Yes, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television, entertainment news with too many hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and the third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am the curse for this program because I feel like I'm going to mess something up after being away. John will be our killer because he's the killer director. And Dave, you can be our Fargoese, don't you know?
You betcha. You betcha. Yeah. All right. Wow. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on. It's been a minute. How's everyone been? Hopefully you haven't missed us too much here on the pod. Yeah, we a little bit of a hiatus. Our first one in over a decade where we actually took some time off. Had some major life events, but here we are.
Too bad I didn't come back with a hair transplant. It would have really made things weird.
Come back with a hairpiece or something.
John's like hair is like blue. He has like a Mike Tyson tattoo. Like we all changed.
We did some things. Yeah,
we did some things. But oh boy, we got a lot to do tonight. We're gonna catch up on everything we missed over the 2 months we were off. We got movies, we got TV shows. We have a lot to talk about. We have to jump right into this first segment. John, what is it?
In and out points.
In oder out. In oder out. In, out.
Yes, it is in and out points. We've been off for a bit, and obviously as a lot has gone down. I'll run through some quick top headlines here. Both the WGA and SAG, the Writers Guild and Screen Actors Guild, those strikes have been settled. Hollywood is back up and running. We got Disney announcing it intends to buy Comcast's stake in Hulu for nearly $9 billion. I saw, John, you sent me something about competing streaming companies like Apple TV Plus and Paramount Plus are discussing offering a cheaper bundle altogether. And, you got the enemies coming together to work in this new Hollywood. So much going down. I want to talk about this one story that came up in the last month here. It involves HBO Max, Warner Media, that whole mess of whatever we're calling it these days. And we all remember when Warner Brothers shelved, previously completed movies like Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Hunt for tax write-offs last year. Well, they have another one on the list, and this time the US government may be taking notice. The film Coyote versus Acme was going to be a live-action CG animation hybrid starring John Cena, who has, his Peacemaker deal with Warner Brothers. He actually had his coworker there in DC Studios head, James Gunn, produce and story write this film. Well, this feature, which cost $72 million, is going to be shelved for that tax money. Just thoughts on this, John.
There's got to be some loophole somewhere that we're not seeing. That's like, oh yeah, if you spend the money to make this, you could write it off and suddenly you have $800 million worth of taxes resolved, and it's or dissolved or whatever. It's like, how is this even remotely supposed to be possibly like profitable for them, unless they're in such dire straits that like they're negative a couple million and like writing it off reverses. I don't know how.
To me, it just feels like mafia related, like money laundering. That's really what it feels like. It feels pretty gross. I don't know. It's just, but also on the side of like trying to work with the people that make your product, what a better way to piss them off than just keep shelving all their projects. It just seems so silly and stupid. But isn't there that Hollywood accounting? Doesn't this all make sense in that world? I don't know.
To me, this just reminds me of the Seinfeld bit where Kramer, tries to send Jerry's broken stereo in the mail to get the rebate or the write off, and they're like, they just write it off. Write it off what? I don't know, but they're the ones writing it off, and it's just yeah, this I don't understand. Like they spent $72 million and what are they getting back?
Mm-hmm.
Like are they really getting 72 million back? I don't think so. Like it's just wild. And I mentioned, the government, is taking notice. Well, we got Congressman Joaquin Castro of Texas. He's calling for a federal investigation of this now frequent practice that Warner Brothers Discovery is doing. He said, quote, the WD tactic of scraping fully made films for tax break is predatory and anti-competitive. As the Justice Department and the FTC revise their antitrust guidelines, they should review this conduct. As someone remarked, it's like burning down a building for the insurance money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there has to be something going on underneath all of this, where somebody's making some kind of money somewhere. So, I mean, some money is exchanging hands somewhere. It seems very, very shady.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know the exact thing, but it's like when Mitt Romney like had KB Toys and it went under, and he's like, "Hey, I made a gazillion dollars." It's like, what? How did this happen?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and I think you mentioned it, Kyle. Like, there's been so much like outcry about this, and for a very good reason. This is the people that spend a year, 2, 3 years working on something like this, put blood, sweat, and tears, and then they have nothing to show for it at the end. There's nothing in their reel. There's nothing on their resume. They're like, oh, what have you been up to? What's this gap here? Well, I was working on this film. Oh, what film? Can I watch it? Can I check it out? Can I see your work? Maybe to get you this next job. No, nothing. You have nothing. You don't have a still. You don't have a video. No, I don't, because it's a write-off. And it's just like, it's just so unfortunate. And I saw Warner Brothers was maybe like after this possible, investigation, the outcry, they are trying to shop the film to other studios and streamers. So maybe it won't be a write-off. Maybe it'll be sold to whatever, Netflix, Amazon for X million dollars, and they'll get something from it. Who knows? But like, it's just there's been so much outcry that you would think, okay, Looney Tunes, we shouldn't touch this. This is beloved. Don't mess with Looney Tunes. That's what the headline should be for Warner Brothers Discovery. A few weeks later, we get this announcement that Looney Tunes was going to be pulled from Max. And now, supposedly it was just a mistake, but it got a lot of people wondering, like, if you can't make a beloved franchise work, that's like almost the symbol of your company in some aspects. What do you even do? Like, well, how are these executives still in charge? Like, who's making this decision to do a $70 million Roadrunner movie and then not writing it off? And oh yeah, that Bugs Bunny, he's a nobody. Let's pull that from the service. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that you'd want some kind of kids entertainment on the streaming platform. I mean, isn't that a big thing when like Netflix? They get a bunch of stuff through like
Disney
Coco
Plus.
Melon.
That's like their whole service.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is just like I feel like the news when these companies nowadays, it's just like a testing ground. Because it's like, oh, it's like, maybe they'll say
like the Oscar thing. Oscars.
We may have cast this person as Superman, and like there's like this rumor going around, and Twitter's like, no, we don't like it. This is the worst. And it's like, oh, that was actually just a rumor. That was not real. It's actually this person. The Twitter happened to say would be perfect instead. And it's like, this is what happened here, where it's just like, what, Looney Tunes is going away? And then somebody in the an executive up there is like, people don't like this. Oh yeah, it was a mistake. It wasn't going anywhere. It's like, come on. But
yeah, it's silly. But I mean, Looney Tunes are a staple of Warner Brothers, man. I mean, I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know if it's soon it's just going to be all like Say Yes to the Dress and My 90-Day Fiance and My 600-Pound Life and all that. I mean, I think that's what they're going for because it's cheaper to create and it's just pervasive everywhere.
I'm telling you, I think the guy at Discovery has some dirt on the Warner Brothers people, and I mean, and HBO people, and it's just like, that's why they're getting the best end of every deal. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
More HBO in the title of Max. And maybe HBO is just busy, making up their Twitter army here, and that's our next in and out point. Speaking of Twitter, HBO has their own recent controversy. In a story first reported by Rolling Stone, it was discovered during a wrongful termination investigation that Casey Bloys, HBO's then president of original programming, had a secret army to push back against TV critics posting tepid reviews of HBO titles. So this former worker said Bloys was obsessed with Twitter and wanted to always pick a fight. And her boss asked, "Is there any way to create a dummy account that can't be traced to us to do Bloys' bidding?" I always love like execs and these like just Hollywood people. It's just like, no, is there a way to like do this, like behind the scenes stuff? And it's just like, you guys don't understand how even like basic like Twitter works, or just like basic like internet. Like it's just,
I know.
You're just old and you're just, I don't know. But
they're just they're the ideas men, dude. That's
and
we're here for the big
good,
ideas. The big idea.
Their big ideas aren't good. Their small ideas aren't good. They just write them off. And
I gotta be honest. Sorry, I don't even know the story yet, but like, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, in the sports world, I think Kevin Durant, who's like a major superstar, has like several burner accounts he's talked about where he just trash talks people. It's like, how fragile is your ego that you have to do this? Yeah. And I mean, what we know about Twitter at this point is like, it's like the smallest of margins of actual users. It's like, what are you doing this for?
They're all bots. They're all probably the same person. It's like the catfish like situation. It's like, I'm interacting with this fake person who's interacting with this fake one that I made up. It's just a web of lies. And some of the tweets included one directed toward Vulture screenwriter of a Perry Mason episode. It said, "A somewhat elitist take. Is there anything more traumatic for men and now women than fighting in a war? Sorry if that seems too convenient for you." There was one for Rolling Stone TV critic Alan Sepinwall for his review of The Nevers. Bloys texted out to one of his employees, "Can our secret operative please tweet at Alan's review? Alan is always predictably safe and scared in his opinions." But I think my favorite one, which is the one that John has posted here, it was a tweet coming from the fake Kelly Shepard on Twitter. That's actually coming from Casey Bloys, who, I mean, we got. Well, it's important that Casey is a white man and Kelly here is a white woman. But this tweet was, "Maybe our friend needs to say what a shock it is that two middle-aged white men are essaying on a show about women. I effing hate these people. Yes." So this Kelly Shepard, who again is Casey, is saying, "Yeah, man, look at you two white men messing with this show about women." It's like, wait a minute here. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
it's
boy.
all, I mean, in a bigger sense, like, this is going to be absolutely pervasive everywhere in the next 10, 20 years. I mean, this is all it's going to be. And if decisions are being made based on this silly stuff, I mean, it's a crazy rabbit hole we're going down.
For $5, you can have all of your tweets highlighted forever. Not forever, but for the month or whatever. So it's like, it's such an inconsequential barrier to entry that like every spam bot that I have DMing me has verification, like, and those are always pushed to the front because they paid money, and it's the barrier of entry is too easy. And like you said before, it's people who are like, oh, I got to get back at them, but they can't know it's me. Like,
but it's because it's like, what is this solving? You are the head of HBO. Do you really care if all the reviews are 100% positive all the time? Your success rate is already so high. And it's like, I trust Alan Sepinwall of Rolling Stone. I look at his reviews. He's a great critic. But like a reply from at Kelly SH3388936. Why will I care if she disagrees with? I don't trust that person. Like,
and why would you not focus your 10 minutes of energy into trying to improve things to make people like it more, instead of just trying to put down the people who disagree? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Wild. Well, oh boy, that's what's going on over there on the Max service. Let's turn to what's going on Amazon, and that's where we got a new trailer, a new show coming out in 2024. It's time for coming attractions.
Here are some exciting coming attractions.
Oh, that looks good!
All right, we're going to be talking about the Fallout trailer, which just dropped. Fallout's not coming out until April 12th of next year, but this series, based on the popular video game, depicts the aftermath of a nuclear war in an alternate history of a 1950s-esque retro-futuristic world. And I want to throw to John first. You know, obviously our video game expert here. But I know you've been interested in this series and how they're going to adapt it. What did you think of the trailer?
I thought it was interesting. I liked seeing some of the CGI and how they're approaching some of these things. There's a lot of diverging lore in the Fallout series because you have a couple that were made by the original people, and then Todd Howard, who I believe is one of the directors or showrunners or something on here, who runs Bethesda Game Studio or is high up there in there. His company, Bethesda Studios, bought the rights to it and have made a bunch more games on top of it. So the lore kind of goes in a couple different directions, but it was interesting to see their takes on like power armor and stuff like that. You know, it looks pretty similar to the game, if anything, maybe a bit taller, a bit bigger. But you know, that's kind of the stuff that interests me is how they're taking stuff out of the game and directly adapting it to the screen, because pretty much anything that's in there, like the monsters and the armor and all that, was all 3D modeled already for the video games. So you probably had all those assets offloaded to somebody to probably upres and you know, give more detail and maybe make it a bit more lifelike and stuff. So I don't know. That's the kind of stuff I've been looking for in the trailer. There wasn't a ton of story. There wasn't a ton of anything else. So there's really not much else
Just
for
a
me
little
to sink my
teaser.
teeth
Yeah.
into. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested. It seems like it's the same studio doing the VFX as The Boys, if I understand
Well,
correctly.
I think it's from the studio, like as in Amazon Studios
The
that
whole
brought you
studio.
The
Okay.
Boys and
Okay.
Fast Delivery. I don't know if you saw that in
Yeah, I
there.
did see that with the asterisks on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what fast delivery is, but
I think
um,
I'm pretty sure earlier trailers did say like 2 day shipping, and I don't know if like that's like like maybe it was some kind of like legal thing. It's like, well, in some places we can't offer 2 day shipping, and then this place you have to have the Prime subscription. Like I don't know if that was, and that's
oh,
why they
I
changed it
see.
because I swear I saw a 2 day shipping, and now
That's
it
not
just
a
says fast
show.
delivery. No,
That's
no, no,
that's
it's
Amazon.
literally Amazon.
I
Yeah,
see. I didn't even catch that. All right.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I've been interested for a while. I actually got to go see on Staten Island. They filmed outside of a, I think it was a ShopRite that was closed,
Hmm.
which will be a set piece in the show,
Oh, cool.
the Super Duper Mart, which might be what's behind him in that image. I don't think it is, but
What's that say
um,
that like they can go to Staten Island to do a 1950s retro futuristic nuclear apocalypse,
yeah.
world? Okay.
I got to drive past and check it out when I was visiting some friends over there. So it was interesting. They had, you know, a bunch of rusted out cars and a bunch of sand and dirt all over the parking lot and stuff. So it was well disguised. But yeah, I'm interested in it. I like The Boys. I like some of the stuff that's been coming out of Amazon recently. So I'm hoping that this is of the same caliber or better. But you know, I guess time will tell.
Yeah, Kyle, what about you? Are you familiar with the game? I can't remember if you've played it or not.
I know of the game. But I've never played it myself. I know it has like that 1950s twinge to it, so it's like that's why I was glad to hear that in the music in the trailer. That was cool. This thing looks beautiful. It looks really nice.
Amazon has that money.
Yeah. So I mean, there was absolutely no story. I mean, it's hard to follow what's going on, but a lot of cool stuff it looks like happening, and it looks great. So I'm interested to see what they got. But some of the shots looked really cool. So I would be interested. You know, didn't Jonathan Nolan work on Westworld? And
Yeah.
that's always like,
Yeah, Jonathan
hopefully they
Nolan
have
and Lisa
the
Joy are behind this.
That
They
was
developed
concerning.
this, and they also
Yeah.
developed Westworld. So
So hopefully they have a plan in place, is all I'll say, and they've got something to go off of. So maybe if they can
yeah,
adapt
they're
it,
adapting. So hopefully
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
good. You have
yeah,
the basis there. I mean, sure, Westworld there it was a book and a movie, but like I think season 1 of Westworld, oh, that's great. But then when
yeah,
we
yeah,
get out of that, it's like, oh, where are we going here? And I think,
Yeah.
okay, this first season of Fallout, hopefully, will be pretty good. Like, we're gonna follow, the Last of Us kind of thing. They
Mhm.
borrowed a lot of stuff from the video game to the show. It worked out really well. I think the cast in this, it's a fun cast. You got Michael Emerson doing his creepy Ben Linus, type stuff there from Lost. Chris Parnell, looks like without any eyes, just being funny like he usually is. Mark Cherry, Walton Goggins, Kyle McLaughlin, a lot of people in this that you've seen before. So that's exciting. And then for me, yeah, I'm gonna definitely check it out. It looks really cool. I hope, we'll see how far it goes in like with the sci-fi, because a lot of creatures and robots and spaceships, and sometimes, I know it's not the same, but like Lord of the Rings, you lost me with when it's that kind of stuff. But if it's more of like the grounded as much as you can be, like The Boys, where they're superheroes, but it's like, or like The Last of Us, like there's all this stuff going on, but it's still like real world like stuff. But
yeah, for the most part it is. I think the important thing to know is that back before the bombs dropped that started this world, they had things like they had cars, but they were nuclear powered cars. So all the cars had like little nuclear reactors in the back, or they'd have a robot that would cut your hair, but it's like big and bulky and crazy, and like it's not sleek modern. It's like the old fashioned like future retro, like we said, kind of modern stuff. So most of the stuff is pretty grounded in that. What if technology was old but new? So it's pretty good. At least the games are.
All right, so we'll have to wait and see. We got until April until we get to see Fallout on Prime Video. We have another show that's ready to go. We've been talking a lot about streamers. Let's move over to Netflix. In order to talk about this one, let's bring in Terry Hatcher, and who will say?
By the way, they're real and they're spectacular.
Yeah. So this show it's definitely real, but is it spectacular? I'm going to talk about Squid Game: The Challenge. Now, this is the Netflix reality series based off of the South Korean drama Squid Game, and it features 456 players competing for a $4.56 million grand prize. 9 episodes have been released so far over 2 weeks, starting on November 22nd. The finale will be on Wednesday, so we don't know the winner yet. I'm going to do my best. I won't be like spoiling it. Player 1, 2, 3 was out in this. Like, I won't do that really, but I will be talking about some of the games and stuff like that to kind of give you a little bit of a summary of what's going on in Squid Game: The Challenge, because obviously Squid Game was big. I don't think any of you guys checked this one out, but it's one of their top shows right now on Netflix, and I went in with a lot of apprehension with this, mostly like wondering, like, did Netflix even understand the point or like moral of the original show of like this big corporation getting these poor people to play for our amusement? It's like, well, what are we doing here? Like,
wasn't this the one too where they had hypothermia scares for people?
We'll get to that. Yes.
Okay.
We'll get to that. Yes.
Okay. Oops. Sorry.
But and then as a reality TV fan, it's like, how can you even follow 456 contestants? Like, Survivor has a hard enough time with 20. Like, I don't get how you could do this. But so I went in and I'm like, how are they going to do this? And of course, I'll say like the first game, red light, green light. This is my conspiracy. I don't know how many of these people were actually contestants, because it's like, were they paid extras? We lost 259 people in this first game in red light, green light. They go into the bunker afterwards, with all the beds. It's like, you don't have 456 beds. Like, did you only have whatever 180 beds you could fit in that space? So that's all we're gonna have in this thing. Like, who knows the exact thing? And like, how can you actually track any of these people with that motion sensor? Like, and yeah, we talked about it, John. Yeah, like the cluster F of the shoot that this was. Like, you in this thing, you don't see their breasts, but you could see like their hands in their pocket, like just like you could tell they are cold. And there'd be points when like somebody like would pause in like a squat, and like you'd be like, why did I do this? And they make it seem like it's just a 5-minute game, but as we've heard, it took hours. So then, if you're in a squat, you could hold it, for 30 seconds or whatever it is, the red light, green light game. But if it was like 20, 40, 50 minutes in between the takes, I could understand when you're like, I can't do this. Like, I'm out. Like, and
it becomes like an intense endurance competition. That's insane.
And they're threatening lawsuits over injuries that they've suffered during this. Yeah, so we'll wait and see that lawsuit. I'm sure that'll be an in and out point, at some point with how that shakes out. But speaking of injuries, I will talk about how they, to address the elephant in the room. No, of course they don't die in this show, but what they do is they do have like these like squibs like in their outfits that go off, and it kind of lets out this like bloodshot. But I will say it's interesting. It's not red, it's black. It's like this black bloodshot. And I wonder if that's some kind of like S&P note where it's like,
Probably.
all right, we don't need like this thing making it seem like it's
Yeah.
blood, but it's like you're going already to like the line.
Yeah.
Like it's you can't tiptoe, just like change the color. Like it seems like weird. It's like we can do everything but that. And then like they pretend that they're dead once they get shot. They just like, fall over, whatever. Some of them, are emotional and this and that. And so they play into that, but we do the classic games, red light, green light, the cookie. But they also update some of the other ones to make it fair for everyone. Like all these teams are like, oh, we got to get a strong team. We got tug of war coming, get all the bros together. And they all go into this thing thinking it's going to be tug of war. And it's like Battleship. They do like this human version of like Battleship. So it's more of like a strategy, type game instead of a strength based game. So I like that when they like fake them out. But what annoys me though is like that while they were planning on tug of war, they knew about the cookie, they knew about all the shapes and all this stuff. Like they were ready for that. Nobody remembered marbles. Like, because at one point they tell them, okay, we're going to pair up. Everyone pair up. We got a fun little picnic prize. It's going to be a fun little afternoon. And I'm thinking, guys, don't pair up with somebody. Like, do you not remember this? Don't pair up with somebody. And then of course they pair up. And there's like this mother son that were actually in this Squid game together. They pair up. The best friends pair up. Surprise! It's marbles. It's like, come on, guys. Like, suffer. Like, if any time in this show they said we're gonna pair up, it's like, nope, I'm pairing up with my worst enemy. I don't care.
Yeah.
But outside of the games, they have like these like tests, which remind me of like a Survivor, Mole, Sequester type strategy games where you could like choose to eliminate others. You can there's like public votes, there's risk rewards, there's some fun things that really I think add to like the strategy element of like a reality competition show that I would like. And I got into it, and so much so I'm gonna go on a rant here. My wife and I, a couple of my friends who've been watching this, we are so annoyed. I've never been so annoyed with a contestant and edit what the show was like doing to us watching it. I'll try to explain the best I can here, but we're doing the glass bridge. We're doing the glass bridge challenge, which supposedly they had stunt doubles for the eliminated contestants because like the glass didn't shatter. It kind of like opened up, if they guessed wrong, and then people fell. And I don't know if it's some kind of like mat where like they were only falling like 2 feet, but then they like erase them out. I don't know how they did it, but like something's going on there. And anyways, most of the contestants agree to, let's just do one decision. So like player one just has to pick between, 50-50, left or right. And if they survive, player two will overtake them. So then they make the next 50-50 decision. So that way it's fair for the players who were assigned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way one player isn't making like 17 50-50 decisions to try to get over there and have no shot. So that's what they, agree on. That's what they've been doing. Player 5, though, does not want to do it. And so we have player 3, who, is a fan favorite and does their thing. Player 4 goes ahead. Unfortunately, guesses wrong. So player 4 is out. So that means player 5, your turn to overtake.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't do it. So player 3 has to keep guessing. Of course, player 3. Player 3 gets out, and everyone's like, come on, like we all agreed to this. Well, the joke's on her because when 3 and 4 are eliminated, you have to now make the decision.
Yeah.
And I would have thought at this point, it's like, make her do all of them.
All of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't. What they do is like, all right, as soon as she does hers and she survives one, she's like, all right, it's time for someone to overtake me. That's like the fairest way. It's who's up, who's 6.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Oh my God. Now it gets worse. It gets worse. We skip ahead. Player 5 makes it, a few other people make it to the next thing. And now we're doing like one of those tests I was telling you about. And you can nominate someone for elimination, and it can even be yourself. So you can nominate yourself for like elimination here. You roll a dice in the, in this middle here in like this little triangle space. If it's a 6, that person that was nominated is out. So 1 in 6 shot could be you. If you nominate yourself, they agree to nominate themselves each time. So it's like instead of like Lord of the Flies being like, I choose this person, I choose that person, getting people hate you. Choose yourself, and that way everyone goes through it once and it's fair. Except one player on that bridge remembered what player 5 did and says, you know what? No, I'm picking her, and she's the first one to pick somebody, nominate her. Of course, she doesn't get out. After this test, which everyone else then picked themselves, everybody hated the person that rolled the dice and nominated player 5.
What?
Why?
Every single person. And here's
Wow.
what annoyed us, because it felt like we, the viewer, were being gaslit by everyone, because they did confessionals with everyone else, and they're like, yeah, that was so sneaky what that person did. We all agreed to do this and nominate ourselves. It's like,
what?
Am I missing something? I did I not watch that episode correctly? Like, what is going on here?
That's wild.
Then when that person who nominated her tries to apologize, even though she has no reason to, the glass bridge jumper, player number 5 here, says, oh, I jumped. Yeah, when you had to jump.
Oh
Get
my
outta
God.
It was so hard to watch, and we were all like so annoyed. And I will say, thankfully, wasn't in the final 3, player
All right.
5.
If you said she won, I was gonna be like, geez,
God.
man.
Justice
that
for the
stinks.
person who played the game correctly. But oh boy, yeah, the finale's coming up on Wednesday. We're in the final 3. It's crazy that one of those players is going to be $4.56 million richer, the biggest cash prize I think in competition TV history here. That's a lot of money, and
Yeah, that is a lot of
it's
money.
weird because like there's like one contestant I feel like we've gone pretty good story with this whole time. Like the way they have to edit this is weird, because it's like they can't show all 456. They like you got to get one, and then so you get attached to them, and then they get out, and but you also have to give clues from the beginning of who it is. Like I'm gonna be curious how it all unfolds, because like I will say, like the very first person you get a confessional from in this show, you're like, oh, sad story, like about like her helping her, like kids, single mom, this whole thing. She's the first person out in red light, green light, so it's like you have to they keep you guessing.
That's good. Another show that does that doesn't give a crap what happens. I think American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
They'll do like full 10-minute things, and then first obstacle, they're just down immediately.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny when that happens. So
yeah, that would be me for sure. Oh boy. Well, that is it for Squid Game the Challenge. We'll have to wait and see how the finale unfolds. We do have a bunch of other things to talk about, some movies, some TV shows. I know we got a few to go through, so we might have to maybe not do a back of time, but maybe a quick check. All right. I kind of miss, the one episode. This would be the episode for Kyle that he should have started the podcast with. We're back, baby. That's it, because we are back this week. We have a lot to catch up on, but
do it at the end. We'll edit it in.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post. Kyle, what are we talking about? What's your movie? It's also on Netflix.
Yeah, we're talking about The Killer, the new David Fincher movie. I was really excited about this movie. I thought, based on the trailer, it looked really cool. And then I sat down and I watched it, and I wasn't too thrilled.
Oh, no.
I thought the music was good, and there's definitely some interesting shots, camera wise, that are there. But throughout the entire movie is Michael Fassbender narrating, basically, and I found the narrating to be kind of cheesy. So it didn't really bring me into this world. I think it was supposed to bring me into this world, and he's like explaining how he's like this assassin, and I just found it honestly just cheesy a little bit. I felt like the storyline, it was constantly building up to this thing, and then the payoff wasn't there, or as it was about to get good, that's when it ended. So I'm like, it left me wanting more. Like there should have been more there to the meat of the story. And my biggest
Uh-oh.
complaint with this movie is they have what could have been a sweet fight scene at the end, and it is good, but it's like AI generated fight scene. It's like on 2X. It's like listening to a podcast on 2X. It's like all the punches are like super fast in comparison to the rest of the movie, where the rest of the movie is slow. So I'm like, maybe they did it intentionally because it was like slowly building up to this point, but it just took me out of it because I'm like, no one can move this fast. I mean, it was just insane. The punches that were thrown were so quick and like lifting up a whole, like it was just it was just deviated from reality too much. And a lot of it, I could tell, like it looked like it was computer generated. And I'm like, dude, can we just have like a cool fight scene between people? We did it back in the 80s. Like, why can't we do it now still? It just was a very, very odd thing to do in a movie that didn't feel like it utilized that. And then we get to like the coolest part, and it's like all CGI. And it didn't seem like choreography. It seemed like CGI. It was very, very weird. And it really took me out of it. I was hoping for it to be better. I'm sure some people like it. Like, it's still a good Fincher film. But I wanted more, and I thought it could have been cooler.
Yeah, I'm surprised Fincher went with like the CGI AI stuff because, like, I mean, I know there's definitely a lot of like CGI and like Mindhunter. Again, it's like one of those things like that Wolf of Wall Street video where it's like, oh, we gotta take out this one tree and move the tree here. Like, it's like very like detailed stuff because he cares so much about details, and that's the thing. It's like to like do so much like CGI. I feel like he's known for like doing like 100 takes of stuff because it has to be just right. And maybe it's just he was like, all right, I did too many takes. It's not working. Let me just fix it in post. Like,
I mean, it was so weird to me seeing it that's when I put in the chat that we have with the good, bad, and watchable. I was like, let me know when you guys get to this fight scene because I gotta talk it out because it seemed so not like, I know I don't want to sound silly because I know it's movies, but it seems so not real. Like, at least in like 80s and 90s
in Fight
like
Club
fighting, like in fighting, they edit it in a way to where it looks like they're punching, and so this was just like so fast and just over the top, and I just it just was outside the realm of anything that these people could do when you've painstakingly put me in a place of all the things he does to like assassinate people, and now we're, you know what I mean? It was very, very strange. It was a weird choice.
Too bad. Yeah, I'm a big Fincher fan. I haven't seen it yet. I was looking forward to it. I've heard some mixed things, I think, from you and some of the other folks. So I'm hoping, but it's just maybe Fincher should have just, instead of doing The Killer, he should have went with that Space Club movie. I think that would have been the movie to go with. That the script was almost done. Like, we had the poster. We're ready. Like, oh well. But John, what do you got? What do you have for us this week?
I have Gen V, which is not a spin-off, but a side project. Well, I don't even know what you'd call it, of The Boys. A beeline. I don't even know what you'd call it, but
I think it's The Boys, the college years or something. Like,
I don't know, but in short, if you're a fan of The Boys, definitely watch this. It's the same, if not better, CGI and pacing and gruesomeness and action and all that. There's a couple of characters that I couldn't decide if I liked or didn't like. There were a couple of characters I didn't like. There were a couple of characters I did like. I think the main character is a little weak, but I think that's okay because everybody around her kind of supports everything and makes it make sense in a way. I really enjoyed it. They had a bunch of tie-ins to the actual Boys TV show. I think their plan originally was to do one season of this and then clear up what remained in The Boys itself, but it seems like they renewed it for a second season. So I'm glad about that. It was definitely a nice oasis and a void of The Boys stuff while they film more. So definitely recommend it if you're into The Boys. But I think Kyle, you said you saw the pilot.
No, I
No?
Yeah, so
David.
I saw
Gotcha.
the pilot back in September, and I think it was just like the way the schedule was released and how busy October was, because they did that like, oh, it's like 2 episodes here, 3 episodes there, 2 episodes there. I just like fell behind with it. But I will say, John, what would you say to people, looking at this poster, probably watching the trailer? Oh, it's like, do I really want like, because I think initially talked about this, whether it was like when they announced the project, that it was like, oh, The Boys, but like the teen version. Oh, it's Riverdale, it's like that kind of drama. Do we go into that, or is it The Boys just, with some younger folks instead of like it's still that tone?
Yeah, it's still that tone. It's The Boys with younger folks. There's a little bit of like college-y drama, but not really. It all ties into the story. It's not like it's like, oh, he left me. Like that's not what it is. If something like that happens, it's because it ties into the overall narrative and it makes sense. And you can't go an episode without there being references to stuff we found out in The Boys. Like, not really a spoiler, but we find out that people in this college are ranked, and like the higher your rank, the top rank may have a spot on the 7 if there's a space and stuff like that. So it all ties in, and it kind of clears up how some of the like how the superheroes get known and stuff like that. How they gain some popularity, and so it all really ties in very tightly to the actual Boys show. So like I said, if you watch The Boys and you enjoy it, you would be amiss not to at least give this a shot. But I think if you like The Boys, you'll definitely like this.
When I saw the first episode, it's like it has the graphic stuff that you expect from The Boys, whether it's the violence or even just I'm skating around it. But there is a very memorable scene with an Ant-Man type character in the Boys. Well, there's something similar with 2 college kids hooking up in this version in the pilot. Boy. So
it's on par, if not more, than The Boys. So
and then we're gonna get, they announced, I think in the last week, The Boys Mexico. I don't know. It's
The Boys on vacation.
No,
Cancun.
It's another spin-off here. It's weird because like this is the show that The Boys would make fun of, like NCIS, and now we have NCIS New Orleans, like millions, billions, trillions, like it's that kind of thing. So I hope they like lean into it and like make like know what they're doing, like laugh with us instead of like us going to be like laughing like, no, you guys are just franchising this thing out and making it what you were parodying to begin with. So
I think Gen V pays off. I don't know if more would pay off. That's, I guess they're taking that gamble, but yeah, I think that this was worth it. I guess we'll have to wait and see on The Boys Mexico.
All right, we're gonna do one more quick round of quick checks here. I'm gonna go with one here. I'm gonna talk about The Curse. And now this series explores how an alleged curse disturbs the relationship of a newly married couple played by Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder as they try to conceive a child while co-starring on their problematic new HGTV show, Fliplanthropy. I can't even say it. Fliplanthropy. Yeah.
Fliplanthropy?
Say that 3 times fast.
It's philanthropy,
but
house flipping. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Produced by a character played by Benny Safdie. It's created and written by Fielder and Safdie. There's been 4 episodes so far on Showtime. I think John saw the pilot. I was in just from the get-go. The team behind it, it came out on my birthday. We got Nathan Fielder. The Uncut Gems, Safdie brothers. Okay. Emma Stone. Like this combines everything here. It has the cringe, it has the uneasiness you find in Nathan For You in Uncut Gems. There's a moment where like Nathan's trying to sneak like a security cam footage from this casino and he's spilling Gatorade, and it was like this really just awkward scene. Nathan hearing stuff from like a focus group about his HGTV show and how they don't like his hosting. It's like all these things feel like they could be Nathan For You bits.
Yeah.
But in this way, in this scenario where it's like this drama comedy hybrid, real scripted thing, they don't feel forced or fake. It's also shot in a way that's like there's a lot of like unknown actors, probably like real people from the town. And like they always will have like objects in the frame, almost like we are like eavesdropping or like watching them from the bushes, like kind of like some behind the scenes footage. So everything, it just makes it feel all real. Maybe it helps, with like Nathan, in a lot of the scenes here. I will say like Emma Stone knocking it out of the park. I think she's doing great. Benny Safdie, his character Dougie, I think it feels believable. Maybe it helps because like I'm less familiar with him and he's hiding behind like the wig and the beard that you don't see in like Oppenheimer, so it's like he's like a different person. Nathan, I go back and forth on, the big joke we probably saw on Kimmel, how he's like playing actually a stiff character on the show, and like he's actually more of a cool laid back guy in real life. And it's like,
Sure.
there's points in this where I see the stretching, but like, it's hard because I'm so familiar with him playing himself. It's going to be hard no matter what. But John, what did you think of the premiere?
I don't know if it was because I only saw one, but I wasn't super into it.
You're not a cherry tomato brother here?
No, thankfully. No, I don't know. I think part of what makes Nathan For You so great is that he's playing the straight person to the other person's straight person in the ridiculous scenario, and this has that, but the scenario just feels like it's fake and not real, which I know you said it didn't, but to me, I don't know. I couldn't get really into it.
I will say like, well, some of the scenarios, like the idea of like this curse and some of the stuff, there's like some weird stuff going on, but like I think like some of the stuff, like when he's like interacting with people, it feels real to me. Like it's just maybe how it's like shot and just like how like I don't recognize these other people. I think this is Nathan For You, just now on Showtime, at points.
I will say the cinematography and the shots were great.
Yeah.
I especially like the end of the first episode where they're looking through the peephole across the hallway, and you have the camera that's zoomed out, and then it zooms in, but it's zooming in on the peephole, and you're seeing like this distorted like vision of them through. And then after the conversation is done, it zooms back out to remind you that like you're not in that conversation. You're peeking in through the peephole in the door, and it's not like it's it didn't feel like it was like a dolly like push in. It was like actual camera zoom out. So that was I like that. I like a lot of that stuff. But I mean, we'll take for example the scene with the girl selling the Sprites. Like that probably would have been funny if it was actually Nathan being like, "Oh yeah, I can't give you that money." But
so like, that is one of the things I'll say, Kyle, for in the show. They're filming some stuff, and Dougie's like, hey, some little girls selling Sprite, trying to just make some money in the parking lot. They said, Nathan, his character, go over there, just give her some money and we can shoot it for the show, showing you're doing good. And he goes over there and he's like, as he's walking, he sees he only has like $100 in his pocket. He gives it to her, and then as soon as they say cut, he's like, yeah, I need that back. It's like, no, you gave this to me. It's like, well, yeah, it was for the show. We were doing this thing for the show. I'll get you something else or whatever. And then that's how like the curse that she gives him happens.
Okay.
Like, it says, I curse you.
I could see Nathan doing that in one of his bits, but it's not like it's a bit, but everybody's in on the bit. Like, you know what I mean? Like the other party isn't. I don't know. I don't know. It just didn't quite feel the same to me, I guess.
I will say, give it maybe like one more episode. I think like the pilot, it was a lot to unpack. I think maybe give it one more and see if you're like, I'm intrigued by this show. There's a lot going on with it, and I'm curious to see where it goes. But all right, John, what show do you have?
I have Fargo, season 5, I believe we're on. Yeah. I did not watch last season. I watched the pilot. It seemed like it was all right, but it didn't grab me. This one felt a little bit more back to its roots in many ways. We have this woman who is having a bad couple of days But like the highlight of the episode was this big like Home Alone-esque almost gunfight that where you have two people, her and a cop, who are going against each other, and she's a superstar. She's doing everything right, and the cop's kind of just like laying there with his leg bleeding out the whole time. But I thought it was pretty good. I'm interested to see where it goes from here because it kind of seems like that was the action. Like that could have been the pinnacle of a season. You know what I mean? Where it was a gunfight where people were were doing a lot of stuff. So I not knowing the rest of the story, I don't know where this is progressing to. But yeah, it seemed interesting. I think I'd want to see some more before I throw any judgment out beyond that. We did get some teasers of like I think John Hamm doing some stuff. It was literally him praying at a table. Like that's all we saw of him for the whole show, the whole pilot. So like, there's obviously more to this that we haven't yet unveiled. But I don't know. I'm willing to give it a couple more episodes to see what it does. I just think it's a little early for me to say yes or no. But yeah, optimistic.
Yeah, I'd say like with the pilot, what I really loved, well, the pilot, the premiere of this season is there's a lot of little clues along the way that keep you guessing of why, Juno Temple's character Dottie is doing this. Why are two intruders wanting her? And why doesn't she want the cops involved? And I feel like what I thought by the end of that episode, it all connects in a way like without like hitting yourself, like you can piece it together of what's going on and how John Hamm could relate to it. Yeah, it's like I won't get into spoilers yet. So there's been like 3 episodes that have aired, and so far I'm into it because as you mentioned, John, it's more upbeat, it's more contemporary, it has the original like charm of what I liked about Fargo, the humor, the quirkiness that season 4 I feel like was not having for me. I watched the premiere or the first episode of 4 as well, and I couldn't get into it. And I mean, it's practically Home Alone. It's like we got her doing all these traps like Kevin McAllister. You have a cast of Joe Keery, Dave Foley, John Hamm. We get a lot more of them in the second episode. So I think that the first 2 episodes really kind of go together, and I think they released them as like a 2-parter. Gotcha. or a double premiere.
I only saw the first one, so
like Joe Keery is like nailing the young Midwestern son of a sheriff persona that you could expect that drinks Mountain Dew and eats beef jerky in the mid. Like it's that
entitled
character. Yes, and it's good to have John Hamm back on the TV. Playing somebody other than himself, like he does on Curb. Like he's back.
Yeah.
One character I'm not thrilled with yet. I think you met her, John, at this point. Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, that's like the CEO, Dot's mother-in-law.
Yep.
For me, I mean, I know Fargo's known for the over-the-top accents, but really feeling it here with her and that dialogue that she's given, it reminds me, we didn't talk about it, but like Fall of the House of Usher, which came out during these last couple months. Actually very similar, like, like a head CEO, there's a family fixer, like instead of Dave Foley, it was Mark Hamill and Usher. And it just reminds me too much of that, of just it's over the top. It doesn't feel real. It feels like the cliche, like behind her it had like this giant poster that says like no, like it's like it's very like on the nose. But even for Fargo, I can't remember. Kyle, have you seen this yet?
Yeah, I've seen all 3 episodes. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm hogging the mic here. What do you got?
I really love the show. I felt like this season is off to a great start. There's a lot happening. There's some funny jokes in there. I think the funniest joke from the first episode was when they mentioned that they have an air horn.
Yep, I love that one.
The guy blows the air horn and absolutely blows him away. But
immediately,
that was a funny joke. Yeah. So it's even stuff like that that's working. I mean, for me, this season's working. I love the introduction of John Hamm's character, and they're giving you these little bits of information, the suspense in that. I think what really sold me was in the first episode, the suspense of the shootout in the in the store and how it was shot was so well done. And then the story from there is very, very interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. The only thing I will mention, because I wrote this down in my notes, I forgot, is I feel like in Fargo there's, and I don't know if this happens in the movie, so if it does, just tell me. But I feel like there's always some kind of supernatural element that kind of pulls me out a little bit.
I mean, we had the aliens in
I think
that was
season
that was in
3.
season 3, but I don't think it's usually in Fargo. Like at least not the movie. Nothing I can recall from the movie. And I don't think there was anything like season 1 and 2. Season 1 was very close to the movie.
Yeah.
And then as like the series goes, it's like more of like a Coen Brothers thing. And maybe season 3 had the supernatural type thing of one of their movies. I'm not familiar with all their movies, but I think I know what you're talking about a little bit here. If you're caught up. Yeah. So there's something in like the 3rd episode. We get a big back at time flashback. And a very interesting last image. So I'll keep it vague for that, but I do wonder where all that is going and how that connects.
I wonder where that's going. And also even on a smaller sense, I mean, I don't want to give anything away for John, but even like I feel like Juno Temple and John Hamm's character have some kind of connection that they're able to like envision each other or something.
It's the Force in Star Wars. It's So we'll see what's going on with that. But all right, one last thing to talk about here, and it's another movie. Kyle, what do you got?
So I've got Killers of the Flower Moon. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes. Notes, right? But this one, I'm interested to hear what you have to say because I read the book. So I had
look
some
at you.
reading
books.
Notes and books. Who am I? But no. So I had a little bit of backstory with this, and that definitely helped round out the story because I think Scorsese does a great job of breaking this down. What's a very complicated issue to be able to understand. At least that's what I gather from it. So I think he did a great job with that. The other thing about this movie is the acting is phenomenal, like across the board. Everyone is just doing great work, even in like smaller roles, like Jesse Plemons. So it's interesting to me the way they decided to go with the character because like Leonardo DiCaprio's character in the book is pretty small. But I think it leaves more open to interpretation with Robert De Niro. And did they actually have these conversations in the background? They must have been happening. And I think it left them some like dramatic elements that they could play with. And I think that's why they decided to go in that direction. But in the book, Jesse Plemons' character, the sheriff, is like a way cooler character.
I heard he was like the main character, and I think what happened was like I think Leo was supposed to be that character, but then I think he gravitated more towards the character he ended up with, and then they rewrote the script to really focus on, Leo, and kind of instead of being the like investigation, I think it's like kind of more of like the crimes, I guess, and then it ends with the investigation kind of thing.
I mean, it was very accurate to the book, and I wish they had kind of gone further because I think from the book they like it's crazy how far the conspiracy went. And I feel like in the movie, because even though it was so long, they just touched on some points. It's like, no, that's crazy too. Like people are on their way to Washington, D.C. and they're getting kicked out of trains and all this stuff. And that's just like a blip on the radar, like this, that's how deep this thing went. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I'd say for me, like the length wasn't actually too bad for me. I mean, it helped that I was in like an Alamo recliner, bottomless soda and popcorn. Like I was ready to go. But if anything, it maybe petered out towards the end when we got to like the trial part.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was really into it up until through the investigation. Like I would more of those things that you were mentioning, Kyle. I could have taken
Yeah.
more of that. The courtroom stuff kind of really didn't fully hit with me. Almost
Yeah.
feel like tacked on. It's like, oh yeah, we also have to do this,
Yep.
you know,
I agree.
to complete everything. But yeah, it was really well done. Production design, costumes, it really brought you to that period. And yeah, you mentioned the acting, especially from the core three of Leo, Robert De Niro, and Lily Gladstone. De Niro, I mean, easily the best film, in years for him. I
Yeah.
was shocked with like his level of like energy, spryness, like him
Yeah.
moving. I thought, it's been a bit, and maybe it's just I'm used to like The Irishman and his other films a little bit slower, and maybe that was just like that character, but like he was really into it. Like I was really impressed with what he was doing here.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
It's dark, but it's mixed in some humors, sometimes like with the boneheadedness of like Leo and his cronies and what they're partaking in. So we had like the little bit of the humor from like the not as humorous as like Wall Street or Wolf of Wall Street, but it had those levity moments in an otherwise pretty dark and depressing story at various points.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this. Yeah, so yeah.
Were you able to follow along? Okay, though.
I think so. I mean, I think I got like at least like the
the
bullet
main,
points, from the beginning. I will say, yeah, like I think at the end, I don't know if it was just my attention span, but like the courtroom kind of stuff, kind of when Brendan Fraser shows up.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, like what are we doing here? And
Yeah.
kind of lost a little bit of steam because we kind of sideline, Leo. We put him in a, it switches the movie a bit, and
Yeah.
after spending 3 hours with him, it's like, wait, where'd he go?
Yep.
But all right, I think we covered everything. I think that's all we got. Anything else left to catch up on? I think we're ready. Now that we're caught up, let's end the year. We're done. Our yearly wind down is our next and last show of the year in 2023. Make sure to vote. We do this every year. We ask, what's your favorite movies, television shows, and pop culture moments from the past year? And then we reveal them in our final show, which will be Monday, December 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern. The links in our show notes for this episode, you can find it on our social media pages. Definitely vote in that because we need your help. Get your voices heard. And speaking of end of the year type stuff, the holidays are around the corner. Why not plug the DR merch store?
Oh yeah.
We got some shirts, we got some hats, we got some, mugs, some fun things there. Support the podcast, represent. John, do you remember the link? How can they get there?
I think it's bit.ly/DRMERCH, DR merch, all caps, I believe.
That sounds right to me. It's in the
Check the show
Gearomatic
notes.
store as well. So if you could find the Gearomatic store, we have a page with that. So yeah, and then we're gonna be, we were off for a while, but I hope you rested up because we got lots to do in January. We got the Golden Globe winners we're going to talk about. We got the Emmy predictions because that moved from September to January. And then the week after that, Oscar nominations, plus a new season of True Detectives coming out. So we got a lot to do in January. Make sure you are subscribed and ready to go. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, dualredundancy.com. We are live Monday nights on Twitch, twitch.tv/dualredundancy. And you can follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok at Dual Redundancy. Next live show, Monday, December 18th, to close out the year. That's it. That's all we got. So glad to be back, guys. I've missed you. I missed doing this. And here we go. It's let's get things started. But that's next time. Until then, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Dual Redundancy. Goodbye, everybody.